that going. So, Niko's story, chapter 16, The Ghost's Path. So this is a post-apocalyptic Mad Max type story. Very, very fucking awesome. That morning, Hussein bin Farid al-Hamoud stood tall on the docks of Scrapsland. His companions were busy chartering a barge that would take them down to the Dnieper, to the Black Sea, toward their people. For Hussein, time to return home had not yet come. Europe and the ghosts of the Levant needed a liaison agent, and he had volunteered for the role. "Are you sure you want to stay?" Nadia asked him. Hussein didn't answer right away. He felt the cool air on his face despite his veil, the ambient humidity. He didn't like this continent, so far from the scorching heat of the dunes of his childhood, but he had made his choice. "Yes, I'm sure." Nadia nodded and boarded the motor barge with the others. His friends waved goodbye as their vessel pulled away from the docks. Hussein turned, heading toward his old bike, his hand resting on the grip of his AKS 74U. "Here we are, alone on this continent," he murmured. "Let's make sure it's worth it." Leaving his motorcycle in the vehicle lot, or buggies, modified pickups, and other colorful, war-tuned vehicles were parked, set out to find an armory. Found one at the dock market, an arc of containers surrounding the central stalls. A red, rusted container with a wooden sign painted with an assault rifle. The racks were set up at the entrance, exposed for all to see and touch. The owner was a man in his 40s with a thick, black beard. "You're a long way from home," the man said. "I'm Caspard, armorer from this rat hole. What can I do for you?" Hussein didn't even speak the language of the Ash tribes well. Didn't yet speak the language of the Ash tribes well, but he caught the gist. "I need dark hair. This." He pulled a 5.45 by 39 cartridge from his pocket and showed it to the merchant. The man nodded and pulled out a crate of ammunition containing small cardboard boxes. "I've got it somewhere. Bingo! A box of 20 rounds. That'll be 30 pebbles." Hussein didn't immediately understand that the armorer was asking for payment. "Pebbles?" "Cash, if you prefer." Hussein raised an eyebrow. "Fluss? Money?" "I don't have your fluss. No cash, no bullets." "I thought Dakar were given. For our warriors, not for outsiders. I fight with you. You're fighting for Europe. I'm staying here for the Petrogras deliveries, and I fight with you. What's your name?" "Hussein bin Farid al-Hamoud." "Fine. I'll give you your Dakar, but no funny business." "Understood." Caspard handed him the box of ammunition. That was like a good exchange, because he's like, "What the fuck do you mean I don't get ammunition? I came all the way across the fucking desert for this shit, and you want me to pay for this? Fuck this." I'd be like, "I want to talk to the fucking manager. This is bullshit. Where's my employee discount?" Manager of the desert. Oh, man. Hussein stuffed it in his pocket, adjusted his weapon strap, saluted the armorer, and left. Lol, relax, Karen! Welcome, Queen. How's it going? How are you today? He walked the muddy streets, passing under the iron bridges connecting the city's upper levels. His boots sank into the muck. Humidity seeps into his shoes. He was heading toward the barracks set up outside the city. Modest tents were reinforcements piled under tarps. He scanned the setup and approached a man stacking crates of food. "Is there room for me?" The man stopped and looked at him up and down, surprised. "Head doesn't hurt so much, so better?" "Hell yeah, Queen. Yeah, I feel a lot better today. Like, I slept like all day, and I was just like, yo, I'm just chilling." And then I woke up and I was like, huh? I only slept for 3 hours? And then I realized it was daylight savings, and I was like, oh fuck, I was so fucked up yesterday, I didn't even mention daylight savings, so I didn't tell anyone that the stream's technically going to be an hour later if you're, like, in areas that don't do daylight savings. Because I know parts of Europe don't do it, and I know Australia doesn't do it. And those are, like, some of my old viewers from when we streamed later into the night, right? It was, like, early morning in Europe, and, like, you know, midday to evening in Australia. But now that we've changed the stream schedule, we've got more of an American, you know, Western audience. Excuse me. And then we get people like Niko, who's French. The Great Paris! Where are you from? The Levant. I fight for Europe. All hands are welcome. There's a free spot in a tent, but you'll be with 7 women. That okay? That's fine. Some places in the US, like Arizona, don't do daylight saving either. Really? I thought all of the US did. Oh, I didn't know that was a state thing. That must be so... Dude, that would be so confusing if, like, I don't know where any of the states are, but, like, you know, the state in the middle didn't do it, so it's like a time, it's an hour here, so it's like, it would either equal, like, Eastern or Pacific Standard Time, because it would go between the two. So you go up a state instead of going over a state, and the time zone changes? Oh god, that would be so fucking annoying. But that's the world, right? Everyone's got to have their little piece. That's fine, Lucien said after a pause. He wasn't in a position to be picky. What's wrong with having 7 women in the tent, other than the fact that they might think that you're a fucking creep? So, you know, just never open your eyes, stay in your corner, and say, yes, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, and you're fucking golden. Man pointed out the tent and went back to work. Lucien navigated the sea of canvas, dodging a cart loaded with gear, and reached his destination. Hawaii and Arizona are the only 2 states that don't do it. I could see Hawaii, because Hawaii is a little bit off base. But what about... I'm not gonna make that joke. That's like making a Taiwan-China joke. I was gonna be like the annexing of Cuba, right? So Cuba is like the 51st state. But I can say that as a Canadian, I was raised in school with, like, knowing the idea of manifest destiny. So the fact that America will basically, its idea is to consume the world and create a global, like, government. A global nation. A one-nation world. That's literally, like, what the history books in high school taught me was, like, the ultimate goal of America upon its founding was consume the world and create a one-world government. Just kind of fucked up, right? Dodging a cart loaded with gear and reached his destination, he stepped inside, ready to greet. Hello! A knife flew past his nose and embedded. Yup, okay! Exactly, Niko. Exactly. Embedded in a target hung in the corner of the tent. Oh, sorry, cried a young brunette, jumping to her feet. Lucien looked around. He was in a circular tent with 8 beds, 4 of them bunked, cobbled together with wooden frames. The other pallets were on the ground, just leather sleeping bags lined with fur. Lucien took his time settling in and getting to know his tent mates. They were in casual gear, jackets hung on a clothesline, rifles stashed in a corner, but each had a knife and a Glock clipped to their belts. They stared at him, like he was the day's entertainment. Dance, monkey, dance! Hey, girls, we need him to do a strip dance for us. Get up on that pole! We need some... Woo! We'll throw the pebbles at you, boy. Let's get down. Even though, like, I'm not sure about this, Niko, but it really seems like Hussein and Nadia have, like, a thing. But they seem to be that, like, anime friendship thing where the mission is more important than them being together. So it's like, let's put the mission first, and when we're successful, then we can be together. I kind of get that vibe from them, but I'm not, you know, I don't know if that's your intent. They were in casual gear, jackets hung on a clothesline, rifles stashed in a corner, but each had a knife and a Glock clipped to their belts. They stared at him like he was the day's entertainment. Two women sat beside him, boxing him in. He felt cramped. So, you got a face under that veil? Asked the one on his right. Suddenly, Lucien grew increasingly uncomfortable. Looks like he lost his tongue. One of them snickered. Easy, we're not gonna eat you. I'm dying to know if he's cute. Lucien didn't understand everything, but knew exactly what trap he'd walked into. He felt like he'd dived headfirst into a wolf's jaws. The one on his left, cigarette in mouth, nudged his arm. So, you gonna show us your face? Lucien didn't move, but clenched his fists on his knees. The one across from him pretended to grab his veil to yank it off. He shot up, pushing her back. He's playing hard to get! Isn't it like I don't know anything about the Middle East, but I'm assuming the veil has some sort of either philosophical, religious, or cultural meaning to it. That's kind of like the idea of like a burqa, right? Where it's like, don't show your face. Yeah. So, these women are being extremely rude. It's more about hiding truth in general. I like the idea of the facelessness of it by not judging someone like by their looks or something like that. So I feel the veil, not really. The knife, yes. But he doesn't like the situation. Yes. I could definitely see that, Niko. You know, I'm the type of person that this would be like my jam. I would be sitting there being like, you know, oh my god, I love your hair. Like, that fits you so well. You know, like, just get right in on it. That's my biggest problem with women, is I friend zone women because I want to get to know them, because that's how I, like, gain a connection. So anytime, like, I actually like a chick, I'm always really good friends with them, and it always fucks up whatever relationship there could be. But it's like, I don't have any feelings for them if I don't know them. So I have this, like, I need to just find a woman that's willing to marry her best friend. It fucking sucks. But it's like, I friend zone women so bad that I just can't, you know? Because I'm like, other than that, I just, like, if I'm bi, so if I just want sex, I'm just going for a dude. I think it is being third eye blind. Yeah. But I was gonna say is the idea. I think the idea of facelessness is overlooked in the fact of not judging someone by their looks. Something like that. Like, I feel there is a power behind that is extremely overlooked in the Western culture. Because we are so fixated on the individual and on looks and on individual people that it's hard for us to look past a person to an idea, or, you know, past their looks to their personality. But I don't know if that's just a very Western thing, or if that's a very human thing. It could be both, right? It could just be very exasperated in the West, because we're a very show-your-face kind of people. which the internet does not like with that, right? That's why older people like Facebook, because it's like, you're not really hiding who you are. Even though like 90% of people are, because, yeah. But anyway, sorry, rant! Lucien didn't move, but clenched his fists on his knees. Once again, from him, one across from him pretended to grab his veil and yank it off, shot up, pushing her back. He's playing hard to get, she laughed. He's not gonna say no, right? Said the one on his left, slinging an arm around his shoulder. We're way too cute for that. Oh, scoozy. It wasn't 7, guys. I don't think I'm sick anymore. Said the one to his left, slinging an arm around his shoulder. You're way too cute for that. Felt more and more trapped, like a dog surrounded by a pack, barking and laughing. When the one on his left put her hand on his thigh, it was the last straw. Lucien stood, shoving her, and drew his dagger from its sheath. Al-Masunia Marthanaya Wasa Adba come. He said come! Fucking goddamn it. Hold on a sec. My thing crashed. Botrix fucking crashed. Come on. Sorry about that. Super annoying when that happens. Because it kills the TTS. There we go. Much better. Okay. Touch me again and I'll gut you, he roared, so furious he spat the words in his native tongue. Ugh, relax, sighed one of them nonchalant. Could have just said no. It's no. Oh. It irks, the double standard irks me so much, Niko. Women are so like, no means no! And then when a dude says no, they're like, what do you mean no? It's like, shut the fuck up, bitch! No! And then they're always like, all you have to do is say no! It's like, no, bitch! I say no, you keep coming, I gotta smack you around or some shit! It's like, that's probably like my biggest pet peeve is like blatant, obvious double standards that have been, that not just exist, but like double standards that have been fought for, you know? Like women have like fought for the last like 50 years for like the respect of no means no. And now that men are like no means no, women are like, no one says no to me, bitch. My love is stronger than a restraining order. And it's like the roles have like swapped, like the Overton window switched so hard now that women like got their way and they're like, okay, no means no. Me Too movement, believe the victims. But now it's like they're so almost entitled in a way that it's like when men say no, they're like, men don't say no. What are you talking about? And it just really irks me. I'm like, bitch, what if I'm gay, huh? Like, 998% gay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's been working lately, let's say that. Yeah. Fine, fine, put your stuff down. There's a training ground nearby to stay in shape. You should go. Lucien had no desire to stay, grabbed his bag and bolted. Outside, he ran into 2 guys his age, cracking up. Why are you laughing? You got the cursed tent. One of them wheezed, doubled over. What do you mean? Why do you think it's all women in there? Anyone who's tried has nearly been cooked. Lucien was livid. He didn't like being mocked. Brushed past them and found the guy who'd sent him to the tent. Daylight savings is silly. Do you understand why daylight savings exists? And I can agree, yes, it is kind of silly. It's kind of antiquated, but I think it should just be, it should just be shops that specifically deal with farmers just open an hour early and close an hour later. I don't think, like, the entire fucking country, the entire continent needs to shift their shit around so stores and businesses, it's another example of businesses taking their responsibility and putting it on the people. That's my opinion of daylight savings, is companies saying, you know what, we don't want to have to change our hours around, so we're just gonna make everyone else change their hours around. And I mean, you can say that, like, there's so many angles you can come at it from, right? But I think that's, to me, as a fucking conspiracy tinfoil head, not to interrupt, but I think it's silly. Oh, it's absolutely silly, Fish, because those businesses could just open earlier to give farmers, or open later, right? And opening later doesn't even make any sense. So it's kind of like, I don't know, open, and why do they have to open at a time? You could just say, oh, businesses that need to open when the sun rises, open at dawn. We don't have a time. The sun starts coming up, we're open, because you can see now. So now we can, like, start work. But anyways, tangent about daylight savings. Yes, I think it's retarded, and it's one of those things where the businesses are putting their responsibility on the people. But anyways, as he approached, he saw the man exchange something with another. The slap on one hand. So how's the tent? The guy asked with a smug grin. I want another one. No worries, we've got a mixed one. 5 of you. No tricks this time. Relax, rookie. You almost passed the welcome. You already passed the welcome ritual. Welcoming is... See, I'm like, why would this guy do this? But you know what? That's actually kind of funny. I like that, Niko. Because I'm like... You know, why is this, right? Why is this? Why would he fuck with this guy? You know, it's like a respect thing, right? But then it's like, no, this is a respect thing. It's like, oh man, I can't remember what movie it is, but it's like a movie about hazing. And, you know, it's like 2 frats, like, I wish I knew what the movie was. But anyways, it's about, like, hazing, and they're, like, hazing these guys, right? And they're trying to, like, go on the other side and be, like infiltrate, basically, the frat, and be like, yo, these guys are so brutal in their hazing and stuff, and they're doing all this shit, and one of the guys, like, breaks down, and he's, like, trying to, like, you know, like, get evidence, and the dude's like, okay, you're gonna get the punishment, and he, like, takes him into the back, and he's like, dude, what's going on? You're doing so good, man! Like, you're so close to the end! Like, just keep going, man! And then the guy's like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, we believe in you, you got this! Like, oh my god, you're so close, you're gonna make it this time! And then he turns on the guys who are trying to get, like, evidence on the people that are doing the frat, who are doing the hazing, because the guys who are doing the hazing are actually, like, every single one of them has gone through this ritual, and it's like the male bonding ritual of having to test other people under pressure as, like, a evolutionary thing to make sure that the people you surround yourself with are capable of taking care of themselves and taking care of other people and being able to be reliable in a situation when something happens. When that bear comes to invade, when that horde comes to invade, when that lightning storm sets a fire, you want all of the people around you to be instantly actioning and getting shit done, not crying in the fucking corner, which is why I'm a loner, because I'd be the guy fucking crying in the corner. But it's like, you know, such a natural way for men to bond, because then we know we can trust people in dire situations. So I absolutely love the idea of hazing between like as male bonding, because like all of my great friends, that's what we do. One of, like, my best friend, he's a fucking smartass. He has a retort for fucking everything. It's insane. You just can't. I'm like, you should be a fucking comedian, dude. It's insane. They're dumb. There are some things that are, but the dumb things are the things that survived over time, because they were things you could do instantly. And Rober, thank you for the follow. Sorry, I missed that. I was in my head too much with it, you know? I get too caught up in this, but it keeps me, you know, grounded from the story, so it allows me to maintain the non-snowblindness to know that I'm in critique mode, right? But yeah, I really like that one saying, just solved everything for me. That's an example of the tiniest, just one sentence can solve an entire page of confusion. Or like, uncertainty. Fucking ads! God fucking damn it! I don't believe in ads! No ads here. Exactly. Exactly. You got the good stuff. You're smart. You're smart. Jesus. Oh, it's getting hot in here. Remember to watch your ads, kids. They teach you the way to go. If you don't watch ads, how are you supposed to know the cultural norms? If you don't watch ads, how are you supposed to know the latest fads? If you don't watch ads, well, you're just gonna fall behind. And when you fall behind, you're gonna wonder, and everyone's gonna say, oh, you didn't know about that? And you're gonna be like, no, kick it or lick it. Love it. Yes. Yes. Absolutely wonderful. I just gotta check something 1 second here while we wait for the end of the ad. I gotta make sure that it's tomorrow. Yeah, it's like the movie trailers, except every trailer is Borderlands! November 5th. Okay. November 5th is the full moon. So just a little bit of a lore drop here, Electrancy. On the full moon, I'm a werewoman, and on the full moon, I turn into a woman. So, just a heads up. It's a thing. Welcome in his new tent was much warmer. He'd share with 2 men and 3 women. Tent was set up like the last, with room for 3 more. Beds were just pallets. No problem. Lucien had his sleeping bag. He set down his gear, but kept his AKS-74U slung in his dagger sheathed on his chest. 3 women sat in a circle, sharing strips of dried meat. The smell was unfamiliar to Lucien. What kind of meat was this? Want some? One asked, offering him a piece. This woman was about 30, slightly drawn features like the young woman he'd seen at the Northern King's court and in Ashenfield, but less pronounced. Her fur-lined hood was pulled over her head. Couldn't tell her haircut, but her eyes were brown, unlike Nina? That was her name, right? With eyes black as coal. What is it? Lard. Lard? You know, the big animal, lots of hair, short legs, big teeth, digs up. Lucien only caught half her sentence. He shrugged, shaking his head to show he didn't understand. She pulled out a half-torn notebook, sketched something, and handed it to him. Ah, Lucien said. Holliff. If you say so. You taking it or not? We don't usually eat that. I don't know how to say it. La euphazoo jedim. It doesn't keep well. You kill it and eat it fresh. Don't worry. You're not in the desert. It's already cooked. You're fine. Lucien was quiet for a moment. Wait. Now this brings something to me Niko, that's an environmental issue. If he's from the desert, aren't most foods dried in the desert? Isn't, like, the idea of, like, drying foods, like, a desert thing? I'm pulling shit out of my ass, but, like, logically, you'd think that would be the way it is, right? So, like, smoking and drying meats and stuff like that. So this adds, like, kind of a cognitive dissonance to me, where I'm like, well, he's from the desert. Shouldn't he know about, like, drying meat? Okay. That's just instantly where my mind goes, so as someone who's not familiar with that, it's just a question that pulls me out of the narrative. But that's just for my own curiosity reasons, right? Where I'm like, well, that logically doesn't necessarily make sense, but that's a me thing. Lucien was quiet for a moment, hesitant, but took the piece and bit into it. Very salty, but good. Beef jerky, basically. My favorite food. Except it's so... I haven't had beef jerky in like 6 months, because it's like $17 a fucking bag, and it's like 12 fucking pieces of jerky. Where I used to live, tangent, it's called, it was literally called World's Best Jerky. Like, it's like world famous jerky. Best beef jerky I've ever had in my life. So fucking good. But, I don't know. I can't afford fucking jerky. It's expensive. It's a rich man's food. Sadly. Very salty, but good, with a flavor he didn't recognize. What's that taste besides the meat? Smoking. Makes it better. Lucien nodded and finished his piece. One of the men stood. Alright, the war brewing. We'd better stay in shape. The others agreed. Come on, show us what you've got in training. With pleasure, Lucien smiled. Followed his new comrades to the training ground, set up outside the barracks' perimeter. Everything was arranged to keep the personnel fit. Pull-up bars, shooting range, an arena for hand-to-hand combat. Men and women in light gear were doing all kinds of exercises. Lucien noticed the crazies posted at the edge of the field, ogling the men and whistling. His jaw tightened. He understood why they'd suggested he come here, and he had no desire to be their eye candy. Why do you want to... What do you want to start with? Asked Davin, one of the men from his tent. Not sure. Got a specialty? Knife fighting. Perfect. Come on. Davin led him to the arena. A dirt circle ringed by crates and makeshift barriers where the three pairs were sparring. Davin rummaged in a crate and pulled out 2 wooden daggers. The man, about 35, took off his shirt. He was well built, but not overly muscled. Don't hesitate to get comfortable. No thanks, Lucien said, keeping an eye on the 7. Your call. On guard. Lucien took position, facing his opponent, and saluted out of habit. The 7! Oh! The boys. And I was like, alright, there's 7 women. Facing his opponent and saluting out of habit, he got in the zone. Like facing one of his brothers in a duel. He and Davin circled, sizing each other up. Davin had a solid stance, firmly planted, but too stiff. Lucien charged. Davin swung a circular strike at his throat, but Lucien ducked, rolled under Davin's arm, and hooked his leg around Davin's throat, bringing him down. Rising, he grabbed Davin's wrist, twisted it to make him drop his weapon, and pressed his own to Davin's throat. Well, damn, Davin breathed. You blitzed me. Blitz? You're too fast. Lucien stood and offered a hand to help Davin up. Davin rubbed his wrist, making the younger man smile. I could teach you a few tricks, Lucien offered. With pleasure, Davin and the other fighters chorused. Hussein spent the rest of the morning training with the others. He was one of the best at hand-to-hand, but the others held their own. He soon worked up a sweat. He had to strip down. When he took off his jacket and shirt, hell yeah, muscles, let's go! Beach time! He heard clapping and whistling. Turned to see the women from his first tent watching. Felt like a piece of meat. Snorted and ignored them. Heading to a basin of water. The air was cool, so he splashed himself and scrubbed off the sweat before drying and dressing. Yes! Yes! Oh, Sean, welcome. How's it going today, good sir? How are you? I'm currently reading Niko's story. Bless you times 2, thanks. Next one will be 1, and then it'll be gone, and that's me getting rid of my cold. Oh. He kept his keffieh. I don't even know how to pronounce that. I always forget. And is she broken? Or did we just get locked out?
Keffieh.
No, she's broken. Keffieh. I always sneeze, what you mean? I'm just making a joke, Queen. It's cause... no spice with women, bro. You've been blessed. Again. I was sneezing 7 or 8 times yesterday, Queen. So, if you sneeze more than 4 times, that's usually, like, the me getting sick sneeze. Right? Like, it's like there's something, in, like, fucking up my nose. Other than that, it's just, I sneeze because. So if it's 2 or 3 times, we're golden. But if I sneeze like I did yesterday, I know I'm getting fucking sick. And my nose was running all fucking day yesterday. It was so brutal. So I slept all day today. And I even got the extra hour in because of daylight savings. Which was super cool. So I literally slept for like 14 hours. Well, I probably slept for 10 hours. I lay in bed for 14 hours. Kept his keffieh over his nose, but figuring sandstorms were rare here, lowered it for easier breathing. His companion saw his face, 22-year-old from the Levant. Nothing extraordinary. I was in bed for roughly 10 hours. I'm usually in bed for like 3.5, 4 hours at most. And then I'll like take a nap later in the day for like an hour and a half. Cause like I just have such a hard time sleeping. Not when I'm sick. When I'm sick, I just pass the fuck out. The shooting range though, his results were decent. Nothing more. Old gun was built for close quarters, not sniping. After training, Hussein wandered Scrapsland's tents. The city was livelier than he remembered, normal with reinforcements arriving from across Europe, past strange fighters in partial metal gear, steel gloves, chainmail, or pauldrons, all bearing crests with symbols he didn't understand. The Crusaders! Is that what they're supposed to be, Niko? Because that immediately, I'm like, yes, Crusaders. Fuck yeah. That's badass. Wandering, dodging carts and loads, he ran into a man he'd seen in the north. You! I know you! The young man shot back. Didn't you come to my king's court? Yes. Oh, is it Gunner? Is it Gunner? Me neither. His companion laughed. Hussein bin Farid al-Hamud. I've said that name so many fucking times that I still can never get the Hamud. I say like Humid instead of Hamud. No matter how many times I do it. It is Gunner Vinkinson. Thought your people were defending your borders. They are. I'm here for personal reasons. You? I'm the liaison between my people in Europe. Thanks to you and yours, we got organized. Thank you. My pleasure. What are you up to today? Drinking with 2 friends. Wanna come? Why not? Two headed to the Drunken Rover, a bar of wooden palisades topped with corrugated metal to shield patrons. Why did I say protons? God damn. Patrons from rain. Guard against neutrons from space! The back was 2 containers for food and booze. The floor was planks over dirt, with cable spools, tables, and stacked pallets. Metal barrels or real stools for seats. Stirring lights lit the place. The air thick with wet wood and hot food. Gunnar went to a table where a man and woman who Cien recognized sat. He'd traveled to Nova Kiev with the man. The woman, he'd seen her at the king's court, and in Afershield. Ashenfield. Jesus. Salam, Hussein said, waving. You brought a friend, Rudel asked Gunnar. We know each other. Oh? You just never saw my face because of my kifeya. You're Nina, right? Yes, and you. Forgot your name. Rudel. Right. I'm Hussein. Sit. Hussein sat on a stack of pallets and pulled a tin cup from his bag. Rudel poured him a hefty shot, and he toasted with his new companions. So, what's new with you? Rudel asked. After Nova Kiev, I went to your mountains. The Alperi nearly killed us. They're a bit paranoid about outsiders. Don't hold it against them. Paranoid? Wary. You settling in? Wait. Okay, I'm a little bit confused here, Niko. This is Gunnar talking, right? Not Rudel. Because I'm like, Rudel never left, right? Or did he? I'm confused. It's Hussein talking? Okay, I have a gap here then, Niko. What's the Alperi? Cause like I'm trying to remember. He went. Did I miss something? Because the last thing he did was go to the King of the North, right? Then after the King of the North, he came back here. An alliance of fortresses in the mountain of Europe. Okay, Niko, I do not remember that at all. Did I just forget that, or is that not happened? Did it just do like a summary and saying that Hussein, or did we pick up after the fact? Because I know we were with Den and Alice for the last couple of chapters, right? So more things could have happened with Hussein in that time. But I'm like, I don't remember him going to the Alperi. But I could be retarded. So I thought this was, no, after the courts of Europe, he went to the mountain off screen. That's the reason why I cut up all of these chapters for rewrite. Okay. Courts of the North. Okay. So it hasn't shown us that, but it told us that. Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't 100% about it. Because at first I thought it was Gunnar saying that, and I was like, why would Gunnar say that? He's a Valkar. They're, like, super wary of outsiders, too. So that was another thing that put me off, is the Alperi. Are they even more weary than... than the Northerners? I don't know. Or is it just because it's not the sorts they're suspicious as they are, defending their land? Anyway, sorry, tangent for that. I just need some clarification, right? You settling in okay? Nina asked. Your continent's cold and damp. It's unpleasant. And your women are weird. How so? I was in a tent with women. They got too close, tried to touch me. So what? That's an opportunity, no? Rudel said. Rudel! Nina elbowed him. What? Doesn't bother you that they touched him when he didn't want it? If I had a woman all over me, Rudel, shut up! Catching Nina's glare. See, it's a difference of opinion, right? It's like, I would be like, yeah, I would be like instantly making friends with them. Other people would be like instantly hitting on them and absolutely loving the attention. And then there's people that are like, no, I didn't ask for it, get away from me. Like, I like my personal space, right? So, being able to look at someone else's perspective, but your initial response is your own perspective, is, the human response, right? So, it makes sense that Rudel will be like, dude, they're all over you? Why wouldn't you want that shit? It could also be like a cultural thing too, right? So there's a lot of depth that's being explored in this chapter. Catching Nina's glare, she turned to Hussein, who'd refilled his glass and downed it. What do you think, Hussein? I don't like being touched if I don't want it. It's... I can't even say it. Not right. It's not right. The rest of the conversation was tough. Hussein struggled to express himself in their language. His talks had been functional until now, but with gestures and broken phrases, he got the point across. They toasted one last time and parted. On the way back to the infirmary, Nina cornered Rudel. Seriously, Rudel? You weren't cool with Hussein. How? Imagine a guy cornering a woman and groping her. What would you think? That's assault. For Hussein, it's the same. Ah, come on, he's a guy. He's not gonna complain about a bunch of horny chicks wanting him. Rudel! Nina stopped dead, grabbing his collar. Her obsidian eyes welled with tears. How can you be so insensitive? What if it was me? Yeah, see, he's barking up the wrong tree here, man. She's not cool with this because she's experienced it and seen it firsthand on both sides her entire life. She's like, nah, you don't play both sides of the fucking fence on this one, bro. You're downplaying what he went through. I thought you were better than that, but you're just like the rest. Nina. Too late. She turned and ran, leaving him stunned. Started to chase her, then stopped. He'd only crowd her. Damn, he'd screwed up bad. Trudged home, face long. Damn! Slammed the door, ignoring his old man. Stormed to his room without a word. Collapsed on the floor, lit a cigarette, took a furious drag, punched the moldy floor, and sent his ass valve flying. Curling into a ball, head in his arms, he let anger and bitterness consume him. Nina, meanwhile, went to her reinforcements barracks, stomach knotted under the late afternoon sun. She felt betrayed. Her Rudel, so gentle, so understanding. She couldn't believe he'd played her all this time. She reached her tent, collapsed on her cot. Her tent mates noticed her mood, but got only grunts. I love this, miscommunication, Niko. It's so real, and it's not, most people are like, oh, well, these people are dating, so we have to have them fight, and we'll have them fight over something stupid. No, this is a legitimate reason to, get mad, right? And to see someone else's perspective, and it's a growing opportunity for both of them, right? For Nina to be able to sit down and say, this is why I feel this way, do you understand? Can you feel that way? Instead of just, because there is the angle of women don't understand how men talk to each other. Right? So, if, what two guys said between each other, jokingly, two women said between each other would, like, end friendships. So it's like, it's just a different way that dudes, like, talk to each other. And again, that comes back to, like, the hazing and the, like, putting people in difficult situations to see how they react, so you can judge them for when those situations actually show up. So this gives, like, this perfect miscommunication for a building point for both of them. And it also gives Rudel the opportunity to see things from a different perspective as a male with someone who has different perspectives than him, and knowing that, like, there are some things with some people, right? Some people you can joke about this stuff with, and some people you can't. But when you know that you've crossed a line and it's a joke, that's where you apologize, and it's like, that's the learning process that Rudel's gonna have to undergo, right? And again, he has a little bit of the socialness, awkwardness of being, like, a doctor, and that, like, forced bedside manner, that I'm sure there's an over-exasperation when he's off the clock to express himself, because he's not able to do it, like, at his job, right? And that's just, like, the depth of Rudel's character speaking to me in this scene. And, like, same with Nina, where she's looking at it from the complete opposite side because of the trauma that she's gone through. So it's like two people that have completely different perspectives about the world, but are trying to live in a compromise at the center of it, are now having, like, their first almost ideological crash, but it's not even really that, right? It's just an explanation and understanding that can be used as character growth. But I fucking love it, because it's an actual deep topic to have a misunderstanding over, versus, you know, go make me a sandwich. Fuck you! And then they break up. It's like, I was hungry. And I didn't mean it like that. You know, like, shit! And how it hits so hard, especially when you really have feelings for someone, right? And you're like, you really fucked that up, and you're like, you don't know if you can ever reconcile it, and that's such a human feeling, right? Even though the only bridge that's truly broken is the one you never try to repair. And as long as you do as much as you can to repair it, and put the ball in the other person's court, that's really all that you can do, right? So I'm excited to see where this leads for these characters, because I have yet to see anything, let's say, on the negative for Rudel, other than, like, him being a doctor and just living with a doctor's life. So it's nice to see him in an emotional state now. Definitely rounds out his character more. Her Rudel. So gentle, so understanding. She couldn't believe he'd played her all this time. She reached her tent, collapsed on her cot. Her teammates noticed her mood, but got only grunts. Hours later, in the dead of night, Lucien woke to a strange sensation, like someone shaking him. He opened his eyes slowly, piercing together foggy thoughts and intense darkness. He came face to face with a woman. Worse, her hand was shaking his crotch. His blood boiled. He punched her face, and she let go. He tackled her, locking her in a chokehold, realizing she was half naked. The noise woke the others. Flicked on flashlights. Cien saw his attacker's face. One of the crazies drew his dagger and pressed it to her throat, about to slit it, when a tentmate yelled, "Stop!" She touched me. What? Down there. She came and touched me down there. The what? The dick. She touched my dick while I was sleeping. Let this lunatic go, the woman roared. I told you I'd kill you if you came back. Two men from the tent rushed to separate them. After some kicks to the face, both calmed down and were taken to Scraplin's burgomaster. An emergency night session was called. The Iberian forces rep, under whom Maria, the accused, served, was dragged from bed. Once everyone was awake, Alexander Palachenko entered the warehouse hall and served as his court. All right, explain what's going on. A woman broke into my tent. I was sleeping. She touched me down there. My dick. She jerked you off. Did what? Annoyed by the language barrier, Mikhail mimed the motion. Yes, that. You confirm? Mikhail asked Hussien's tent mates. They said in the dark that they hadn't seen it. Maria had entered their tent, and when the fight broke out, she was half naked. More men testified that Maria and her tent mates were known for their aggressive sexuality, to the point it was a bet in the barracks. Feeling the noose tighten, Maria confessed. Jury deliberated. On return, Mikhail spoke. Normally, attempted rape is castration. Since that's not possible here, Maria Morales, you're sentenced to bastinado. If you do it again, you'll be shot. The verdict, Maria was detained to await her punishment, chained and isolated to reflect. Lucien, deeply disgusted, isolated himself, sat on a rock by the Dnieper, away from the tents and cities, watching the Black River reflect the moon, silver flecks on its smooth surface. He huddled in his cloak, shivering in the dawn chill. Shitty continent. Grass was wet with dew. He smelled damp earth mixed with the city's gasoline fumes. He never get used to it, but the quiet, broken only by faint scrapsland noises, calmed him. On his rock, he racked his gun's bolt mechanically. Calmer. He stood and headed back to town. He needed something to do. Holy shit. Ads! That was perfect timing. Fucking ads. God damn. Ads. Oh, at least I didn't, like, get into the rant about the story before the ads hit. Whew. Damn. Damn them ads! Alright, toke time! Get your tokes ready! Let's go. Beautiful chapter, Niko. This is a subject people do not talk about and do not generally care about. So, it's cool to see that it's presented in this way. It's not just shrugged off, right? And it's like, it fits perfectly for this character. Angela Salas, yo, what's up? How's it going? Like, yeah, see, the great thing is that, and, like, the nice thing is to have chapters be able to stand on their own. Where it's like, you haven't read the first 15 chapters before this, but you can kind of get a feel and an idea for the story, because each chapter has enough meat to it that it gives you something to grab onto, right? Even if you don't have anything beforehand. But how are you, Angel Salsa? Or Solace? Solace? Angel Solace. Yo. Are you a writer? Are you a reader? Are you a purveyor of stories? Do you enjoy creativity and imagination? Are you an explorer of the world of words? Welcome. I'm Intoxication, and here we do beta reading, tips and tricks to improve your writing skills through reacts and notes, as well as a little bit of art, a little bit of drawing, and everything under the sun when it comes to entertainment and tangents. But yeah, fucking absolutely amazing, Niko. Taking all of these different topics, like shifting, like his, like Hussien's, like the closing loop of at the beginning, Hussien saying goodbye, and it's also like I said, like I feel like Hussien and Nadia have like a thing, so it even exasperates even more what he would think, because he's like, well, what would Nadia think if people were doing this? And I would say, if that is your intent, Niko, because I'm not 100% sure if it is, but if it is your intent, I would have Hussein mention that in this chapter. Like, the fact that maybe the reason that it's not just that, but it's like, you know, like, he has the first reaction, but then when he starts to think about it, and he's like, oh god, what would Nadia think if she found out? Right? Like, if it's not your intent, don't put it in. If it is your intent, I would put it in. Because then it, like, it's now giving us that hint, and it's giving us a situation that we're looking for an answer for, right? Because before, it was all about, yeah, it's the stuff of blackmail. Exactly. So if he does have feelings for her and he does consider that, it should be a thought he has in his head. I'll think about it. Because again, I'm not sure if you want Hussein and Nadia to wind up together at the end of the story, right? I'm just saying, I feel like I'm getting those vibes from them, which is why I'm saying it. So it's like, if you're not intending that, make them more like a brotherly, sisterly friendship. Because I feel like there's tension between them. And I don't know if that's just from Hussein's side, because it's his perspective that we're seeing. But those are the small, tiny little things that you can just add in there to give... from this point, we've either imagined it, or wanted it, or, you know, thought about it. But now it's like, once the character thinks about it, now it's solidified, right? Now it's become canon, we know. Hussein was not supposed to end with someone. Okay. But does he have feelings with her? For her? But is gonna have one of those things where it's like, you know, it's the anime friendship. Where it's like, you know that the characters are in love, but they're never gonna be together. And that's like the personality of them, right? And that you can work that in really, really well. But yeah, so far, I think as far as like connections between characters, I think this has been like the strongest, because it has all of the inner bits of Hussein, and then it shifts over to Rudel and Nina, just like, and it's like a shock. It's like water to a shock of cold water to the face. I can reveal all of it now. You don't need to reveal it, Niko. I'm just saying, these are the things that, like, you should do if these are your intentions, right? That's the feedback. So it's not necessarily that I want to know, it's that these are the plots I have in my mind, and due to either which plot you choose, these are the things I would like to see as a reader. And then it can give you ideas for maybe you didn't think about this, and you're like, oh, that's a great idea, because if I can spark a direction that you didn't think of, I've done my job, right? Because that's what I want to try and find, is places and perspectives that you haven't seen, because the more perspectives you can get, the more circular your story appears, right? Then you can have genuine different perspectives instead of, like, pretend perspectives. No context and solely from my own writing, putting a firm "they won't" can be a good moment to put in. Country girl, welcome! How's it going? How have you been? Yeah, like the all-encompassing, my destiny is greater than the feelings that I have, and I know that if I ever tell this person, we would abandon our mission. So we will never be together. And then you can always subvert that expectation and have the entirety of the story falling apart because the two characters decided that they were going to get together. And it fucks up the entire world. I hate providing input on incomplete work unless it's collab, but that's me. I like to be a third-party reader that comes at it with absolutely no knowledge and picks it apart piece by piece and then throws it back at you and says, did I hit the nail on the head? Because what I do in my beta reading, essentially, is what did I get from the story as a reader? And then compare that to, as a reader, what were you trying to say? And if what I got out of the story is what you were trying to say, then you did a good job. But I feel like if I have prior knowledge of it, I'm going to miss the spots, because that's what I have with my writing. Because, like, with my writing, I know everything. So there are assumptions that I make that a reader would never make because they don't have the knowledge that I have. So keeping that in mind when I'm beta reading, I like to go into it blind, being like, did this come across? Did I actually think about this? Heavy sigh. It's been a rough couple weeks, so I slowed down to avoid burnout. Same, country girl, to the point where the YouTube videos that we're doing, we are now not writing the stories for them. We are taking a week off of writing for now to do, like, present other people's stories on the YouTube channels. And that way, because I've been, like, crunch storying, right, for, like, the last 3 weeks. Well, actually, it's been an entire month since we launched the new YouTube channel. So, yeah, in order to avoid burnout, but I still want to do the videos, I am just going to do other people's stories. So all I have to do is the video itself. I don't have to write it. And then I won't feel rushed to write a couple of stories in a week. Because I do feel like I was getting burnt out. So it's always good to take a step back and just take a vacation, you know? And then come back. And then you've got all those ideas that are cooking in the back of your head, right? But anyways, that's my feedback. So let's move on.